All right, here we are for another episode of Off the Grid. I wanted to welcome my next guest. I got two from the Stereotype crew made up of, who is not here with us today, producer MC Frank John James, Mas One and BRAiiiNSTORM. But together as those two, they make up Rhyme Apes. So welcome to Mas One and BRAiiiNSTORM. Welcome and thank you for doing today's session with me, man. How you guys doing?
Hell yeah.
Good, man. Thanks for having us, man.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Hey,
Thank
real
you,
quick,
brother.
let's have you guys really quickly introduce yourselves and just tell me where you guys were born, where exactly you guys call home now, and how long y'all been making music. Let's start with BRAiiNSTORM.
Well, I was born in El Monte, California. I grew up in the Inland Empire. That's where I met my boy Mas One. Right now, I'm currently living in San Antonio, in Texas. Out here, been like 8 years, so it's home to me now. But the West always has my heart.
Awesome, man.
Yeah.
All right. Mas, what about you, brother?
Yeah, man. Also born in the SGV. I was born in West Covina, but grew up in the Inland Empire. Montclair, California is really kind of where my family ended up. And still currently reside in Southern California. I'm in Rancho Cucamonga now, which is kind of like the Beverly Hills of the Inland Empire. But when we grew up, it was nothing but cow farms and smelled like shit. So, but I'm out here now.
Hey, that's dope, man. Well, hey, before we go into the album that you guys just released, I want to talk about your start, man, with music, man. Let's go all the way back, even before rap. What kind of music were your parents playing in the household? What was your first exposure to music?
Man, on my end, honestly, my dad and mom didn't really play too much music around the house. It was my uncle who got me into music. He plays guitar and he got me into playing instruments, and from there it kind of evolved into just a love for music.
Nice.
And yeah, later on through graffiti and skating, found friends that freestyled, and we kind of just fell into it through that.
Dope, man. Mas, what about you, brother? What were your parents or your family playing, man, back in the day?
Probably just a lot of oldies. I'm like
Okay.
fourth generation Mexican American Chicano, and my mom played a lot of oldies. Probably a lot of Brent Wood,
Yep.
Things like that, of that vibe. And then my dad, he's from Aguascalientes. He's Mexican, so a lot of corridos. But my
Nice.
dad always had this fucking Thump Records tape, old school volume 1. So anything that was on that first tape, like he fucking put on rotation whenever he got drunk and he was chilling with his friends. So I would hear a lot of like the old tracks from like Thump Records.
Yeah.
It was cool, very cool. But yeah, it's like Hector, bro. We kind of just linked up afterwards. But that was kind of my first hearing of music around the house, if anything.
Yeah, and at some point, right, you got, you're introduced to music, and then you discover the genre of rap or hip hop. And so, what about that? Do you guys recall like the first hip hop rap song that you guys heard, and maybe what song made you guys fall in love with it? BRAiiNSTORM, what you got?
I'll tell you a funny story. I recall the first purchase of any music I ever bought. I was in Tijuana. That's where my dad's from. And
Okay.
I remember walking over to their like swap meet, whatever it's called over there. But I bought the West Side Connection. What is it? Bow
Nice.
Down. I bought
Yeah.
cassette, and I'm like fucking 8 years old, probably. And I'm in my dad's truck, and he caught me listening to it, and he's like, "What are you listening to?" But
So
it never took me away from hip hop and all that. But I can't recall the first. I mean, we grew up in Southern California, so Tupac and all that stuff was something we were forced to hear. But I remember purchasing the West Side Connection, and that was my first purchase of rap hip hop type deal. But that was in Tijuana.
That's awesome, man. At the swap meet too makes it a better story. Hey, Mas, what about you, brother? What was your introduction?
Yeah, man. Fuck, man. Lowrider music and thump records, bro. I mean,
Yeah.
shit, a lot of like, I mean, was it Rob Bass and is it Easy Rock and It Takes Two? Like these like old like jams, fucking, probably with the message, was heavily played around like barbecues, little things like that. That like those are like the glimmers of like rap music, but it was mostly funk that was influencing that, that vibe. So after that, just like Hector said, gangster rap was prolific. We're from the 90s.
Yeah.
I was born in 87. And, gangster rap was just inevitable and it was all around us.
Yeah.
So that was probably really, I think my brother, my stepbrother, the first tape that he would bump heavily was Doggy Style. So Doggy Style was, I remember opening up the tape, the sleeve and just tripping out on all the cartoons. I was like, whoa, it's fucking cartoons.
Yeah.
These dogs look like some voluptuous women, and you're like tripping on the little fucking rat character. He's all smoking weed. So like that was like my first like imprint in my mind of probably like rap music and like hip hop and just that funky. I mean, you can call it G funk, but I mean that wasn't like the influence. It was just that flavor that I was running into as a young kid.
That's dope, man. And so, yep, hey, so then that's where the love starts and then it grows. And at some point, he's like, hey, I'm gonna start writing some raps, man. You guys recall the moment, the catalyst that got you starting to rapping? Like, how did you guys get into this whole thing, man, in terms of MCing? BRAiiNSTORM.
Well, kind of going back, I grew up skating and writing graffiti, and that was kind of like my introduction to hip hop, the culture in general. I had homies that freestyled, and I fucking sucked. So I was too scared to jump in these ciphers, and it took like years of Sam and I and another couple of homies of having our own little private cipher, learning how to, learning how to freestyle and whatnot before we were comfortable enough to jump in the real sessions. But yeah, that's kind of what our introduction or mine and as far as emceeing. Before I ever wrote a rhyme, it was like you gotta at least be quick on your feet to. And also, we grew up around people that talk a lot of shit. So you gotta be witty, you gotta be quick. So that's kind of where it all falls down. Where always gotta have something to say.
Yeah, it's a good point, man.
Snaps, bro.
Sam, what about you, brother?
Yeah, man, I have a musical background, so I've been like reading music and playing music for a long time. But
nice.
I would say probably high school, like me and Hector, like Hector's saying, I think we met like in 10th grade or 11th grade. Okay. And I also grew up a skateboarder, so we were into kind of like I guess the subcultures and just fucking hip hop and in general. But to be honest, the first rhymes I ever wrote down were probably like love letters, bro. Just writing to chicks, bro. That's hard to say, but like just expressing my shit and my emotions. I remember when I think my great grandma passed. Even before that, like some of the first poetry I wrote was just me just kind of creative writing, getting like emotions off my chest. And it was never like sex raps or anything, but it was just like that was the first time I ever wrote. And then obviously we freestyle, and freestyle was more like a forcing your brain to like react. And to be honest, and Hector might remember this more too, like I liked beatboxing probably.
Oh man, yeah.
Faster. I picked that up faster than freestyle, and so I would beatbox because we had a couple good homies. Shout out to musical what is it? Musical Mammal, yeah. Amazing beatboxer. Yeah, he's a couple years older than us. Say it again?
Rhymes too.
Yeah, Rhymes Dunlop. He's an amazing fucking beatboxer and comedian, and yeah, man, those are our first probably like introductions to that. But like he said, we had a lot of very creative friends, visual artists, beatboxers, MCs, couple producers.
Yeah, I love it. And how was the LA scene, man? Was everybody kind? Was it tough? Did you have to earn your stripes, or was it a welcoming environment? What was your experience like?
Well, we grew up in the Inland Empire, but it all stemmed down from the influence of Project Blowed and all that. So
yeah,
it was one of those things where it's like the standard was set high from the get go. It was like, like I said, if you can't, Yeah, if you couldn't freestyle, ain't nobody was gonna listen to you, even if you did have rap songs or shit recorded.
Yeah.
It all came down to when on the spot what you got, and it was even just within our own circle. It was hard to build that confidence to where it's like, because you didn't want to suck, you wanted to be dope.
Yeah.
So
That's right.
behind the scenes, you had to practice, and once we got out to LA or doing shows in the San Gabriel Valley and stuff, we ran into other MCs that were, sharks, and we had to learn to swim with sharks.
Hey,
So,
I love that.
Yeah,
yeah,
just to
man.
kind of back up Hector. I mean, being in the IE, like it's just east of San Gabriel Valley, which is in LA County, and they're in
That's right.
at the tail end of our high school years. I think we graduated like 04, 05, or just ended high school at that time.
Yep.
And there was, some pretty big DIY crews, like real cruises before MySpace and any of that shit. I believe, we had barely even started doing social media. So luckily, we would see MCs for the first time in person, and it would be fucking intimidating. You would have like shout outs to Quasar in the Cola crew, but we would remember seeing some of their younger crew heads, in the same cipher and same circles. Seeing them in like backyard battles, you're like, I ain't stepping in that, but I'll fucking spectate that shit. And like, and they say, you have those people kind of around the ciphers just kind of like looking and seeing and sizing you up. So
that's right.
Once we finally got into the cipher with some of those few cats, even though I probably didn't, hang with them, like at least I threw my licks in. And shout out to the SGV crews. And then Project Blowed was like, it might as well have been in fucking Africa, bro. It might as well have been in Europe, because being from the IE, like to get out to LA, like I had a car, but we didn't know where the Blowed was. I didn't know about Leimert Park. So like we heard about it, but to get out there was probably like, unless someone were to take us there, which is probably like the reason why. I mean, there's gatekeepers like there, unless you were supposed to be there, like you didn't really just pull up, A couple cats I knew who were older would go, but like, to be honest, we never made it our way out there until like later on when it became like Bananas, or became like what is it, the other like iteration of it.
Yeah, it's a good point though, man. BRAiiNSTORM, you brought up a nice point about just the bar was quite high already at the time. It was good, man. You guys are a product of established underground scene, and some dope, man. Dope to have them as role models, and you guys are killing it too. And I love it, man. Freestyle is dope, man. You just got to get out there and do it, man. It's fun, whether you feel like you're hot or not, man. I applaud anybody that's got the courage to go out. Hey, do you guys still freestyle a lot these days? I've slowed down as I gotten older, but I'm starting to do it more again. What about y'all?
I mean, I've been active out here in San Antonio. There's a lot of dope MCs out here. I'm glad I fell into that circle. I don't as much, just because I don't feel like I mean, I'm not gonna lie, the homie Apaso, whenever he freestyles, he'll literally put the mic in my face and force me. I'm not, I'm just having a beer, and he'll be like, here. Like I'll have to like swat it away, but it's all out of love. So, I get up there, I'll spit my bars, but I don't do it as often. It's, those ciphers, like when we're growing up, is a whole different thing. Me and Mas, we used to go to Amoeba and buy singles just to flip the B side and just freestyle in the room for hours and shit.
Yeah, that's dope.
But no. Yeah, it's still very active as far as freestyling and performing and all that. But yeah, it's still about it.
Yeah, Sam, do you get to freestyle much these days?
Not as much as I'd like to. No, if we're together, if me and Hector together, like, which is maybe like once every couple years or every year or so, when he's out here, I go out there, like I'll fucking I'll jump in there and freestyle with cats. But nah, man, sorry to say, I wish I did more out there. My little brother, he likes to mess around, so like I'll mess with him and he puts on the beat, like freestyle with you, and just like help you get your chops up. So from time to time, I still love it. If I hear a beat, of course I want to start. It's not. It's just like
it's a perishable skill, man. Like holy cow, I didn't really I thought if I had it, I had it, and man, I had this dude that I'm with, and I thought I was really good back in the day, but. And then fast forward like 15 years later, man, and he still practiced freestyling, man. And I just it was a little hard to get back into it, but I was like, man, you got to practice the thing to maintain and keep it up, man.
Yeah.
Holy cow!
I'll say one thing though. When we first started kicking it hard with the crew, like Echoes of Oratory and Crop Circles, I remember we were still young and like had a lot of fervor. At least I did. And so I was always trying to get them to fucking freestyle, and I felt bad because like they're a little older than us, not too much older, and I could tell like they were like already deep in their writing, recording, and like just spitting written. So I'm over here like filled with piss and vinegar trying to get them to freestyle. So it goes through phases for me, but I still love it.
Yeah. Actually, I did that. I did the same thing too, man. Yeah, where I just wanted to freestyle, man. And I was like, I do it, so I wanted to do it. But yeah, same cats probably like had stuff written, and they were way past that time. But that's funny, man, that we all go through the same things. Well, hey, dope, man. Let's talk about my favorite question to ask people. My favorite question is to ask how you guys got your name. So, Mas, you want to explain real quick how you got your MC name? What's the backstory, brother?
I mean, my name's Sam, my government name, so it's just my name backwards in Spanish. It's more, and I just used to tag it up a lot. I mean, I'm not a huge fucking like graph head when it comes to like piecing and like, getting up like that, but I'll put my crew out there, and I get up and I'll still, I still have streaks on me, and just like I just love getting my name up. I love seeing my letters. So MAS was just my name backwards, and I just evolved into my MC name. It's always been Mas One too, though, like since the get go.
Nice. BRAiiNSTORM, what about you? How'd you get your name?
Originally, my graffiti name, I used to write Duper. And when I started emceeing, I just dropped the R and it was Dupe. And when we did our first, what was it, Sam? Our demo, before we actually recorded our first Stereotype album, Instincts of Organisms. Prior to that, I kind of started venturing into wanting to do solo stuff, and I didn't think that Dupe it didn't sound good to me. It wasn't to me, it didn't sound appealing. And so I had like another like piecing name, which was Psyche. And I was like, that doesn't really sound too good either. So from there, it was like, I'm just BRAiiNSTORM, but I added the 3 I's to BRAiiNSTORM. And that kind of had a ring to it. And then that just visually and it just had like a ring to it, and I'm just like, and it's been BRAiiNSTORM for over 10 years.
I love it, man. You read my mind, dude. I was gonna ask you about the 3 I's, like why you did that.
Yeah, just to emphasize on the brain, third eye, and like I said prior to that, I wanted.
That's so.
That's I got the 3 I's for the third eye.
Very cool, man. Well, good. Hey, let's take it back real quick and talk about how you guys came together as a group. So you guys mentioned that you met in high school about 10th or 11th grade. What was that first meeting like, man? I mean, you guys sound like you guys were already rapping, and how did you guys meet and encounter each other, man?
Well, at the time when Sam and I met, neither of us were rapping. I think we came together through skateboarding, and the same circle of homies were the same circle that I was talking about earlier, that were the ones that were freestyling. And it was a handful of them. It wasn't like all of them. It was maybe like 3 or 4. Shout out to Victor and homie Fonzie. Back again, the homie Rivas and Musical Mammal, they beatboxing. So just seeing these guys, how creative they were, it was just like, fuck, that shit was impressive. I don't think Sam or I ever, well, I can't speak for Sam, but I didn't have the intention to like rap. I was a graph writer. And it was just one of those things where like, I can do that shit too, because we would just talk shit all day. So it was like, and shout outs again to the homie Fonzie, because man, that all day, like he kept us on our toes, And, but yeah, that's kind of how as far as as far as Sam and I actually doing music together, that's a whole different story. He was in UCLA. I'll get into that. I don't know if Sam, if you want to tap in before we get to that story, but
if you want. I mean, the question was, how do we start making music? I mean, Hector's hitting all the all the points. I mean, Um, I want to say probably the first time we recorded was at UCLA, in one of the apartments. We had already started freestyling and having ciphers and everything for a few years, and just had that intent. And then we met Frank John James. He's actually a really good friend with one of my other college mates, college friends. He was his roommate, and they're from Santa Barbara, Latino, Chicano, and Frank actually came down to Santa Monica at an apartment in Santa Monica off of Cloverfield and Pico, and we're living on the west side. We were with the Cali vibes. We're out there, and I just started hearing like beats and hip hop from the other end and the other side, and obviously Hector was making his way out to visit me and chill on the west side, and we kind of just like opened up the other room, and like I knew Frank, but I didn't know him like that, and yeah, it was like kind of like our worlds collided, no pun intended, but we literally just walked over there and was like, yo, are you recording? And that was, and we were he already know that we were like freestyling, and we had like Hector said, I had my fucking turntable out. We would play the B-sides and we would play instrumental, so we would have house parties, and he knew what was up, and I don't think we realized we were with somebody who was producing and recording. And even though he wasn't recording like on like the highest quality stuff, he was doing it. And so that's how we really started to form Stereotype, is by meeting Frank in that apartment.
Let me tap in real quick. Let me tap in.
Go ahead.
So back to we would buy these singles just to freestyle on the B-sides, and we're in Sam's room, and the next room over is Frank's room. Okay. And I knew Frank through, I would just say what's up to him in passing. He was kind of a hermit. He wouldn't come out of his room. And I remember one day I show up to Sam's, and Sam's like, hey, come here, and takes me into Frank's room. And he's kind of like, hey, show him. And Frank plays this beat. And I'm like, oh shit, this is dope. And Sam's like laughing. He's like, he fucking made it. Like he was so excited. And I'm just like, what? What the fuck? You don't say nothing? We're over here in the next room fucking freestyling. And
right.
So that was that, And then from there, once we found out he had the setup, is like, hey, let's try to do something. And originally there were 6 members, going back to Frank, Big Frank, and then Frank John James is Little Frank, because there's 2 of them. And then it was me, Mas, the homie Rivas, and the homie Martin. So originally there were 6 of us, and then over the years, once we started getting serious, I think it was just us 3 that dedicated ourselves to recording, and the rest is history.
Yeah, that's cool, man.
Yeah.
There's early Frank John James projects, because Frank's very DIY. He would put everything out. He would record it. And if you look on there, you'll see Vita, you'll see Artist Black, you'll see Martin Dean, and those were their artist names. So those tracks still exist out there, and they're just more like posse cuts made on the spot. And we've even performed as that group a couple times. Shout outs to Urban Underground. They're not around anymore, but we would perform there sometimes. And it was like the early evolving of that.
Cool. And how did you guys come up with the name Stereotype?
Oh man, that's a good question. I can't even remember. I believe that I came up with it.
I don't remember who came up with it. Yeah, you hear. I mean, it's we're about wordplay. Obviously, being from SoCal, heavily influenced by a lot of like a lot of the bloatheads, and shout out to Tumex. To be honest, like that motherfucker, Mind Clouders, and like those early B-boys in Occupied Mexico. Hearing like those double entendres, those fucking like everything's got 4 meanings. Like you got to really listen. And so shout out to LA Underground hip hop in general for being that deep, right? And so Stereotype was like that. Like I hear Stereotype, I hear like 6 different things, like we were a stereotype of ourselves. Like we were this type of, to be bumping on stereo. We were Mexican Chicano. Like we were like living the stereotype. We were Stereotype, So that was in my mind what we were doing. But who knows who said it first? I don't remember.
Going back on like I always felt when I try to come up with names or ideas and whatnot, it's like also a visual thing. So the stereo, we use that as our logo, and like So it felt fitting. Like even now, our new album Through the Speaker, and that had double meaning. So it was, I think we just always were on that, where it was meaning behind meaning, and it's always something visual where if you can see it or imagine it type of thing. But yeah, I can't recall whether it was me or who came up with it or what, but I'll take the credit. No.
And so without Frank James, you guys are Rhyme Apes. And what about that name? Where did that come from?
Do you remember, Hector? I don't remember.
Oh, dang.
What
I like
what
the
was the
logo on
first
that thing too.
Oh yeah, shout outs to Try One. That Mas One made that connection for us. Rhyme Apes, man. I think I had just like a list of different projects or groups I wanted to do, and I think I just always had that one in the chamber. Prior to that, I think we were going as before Rhyme Apes. I think we decided on Future Primitive.
Yeah, that was one.
I remember that.
There was already a project, I think, by Cut Chemist or some other fools that you know, people were telling me there's already a Future Primitive, and I'm like, bro, like I fucking skate.
I think
like
Ewok
I love that.
No, I think Ewok was the one who told us about the Future Primitive thing.
Nayla told
that
me
it was
too,
already
bro.
a thing.
Nayla's a big fucking
word.
A big staple, and she's like, oh, there's already a Future Primitive. I'm like, man, if Nayla's telling me shit, I can't do this. I have too much respect for her, bro.
Yeah, and then going back, Rhyme Apes, it was just something we can use for like a logo or visually. We didn't have a logo at the time or anything, but it was just something to play with. And then that dude Try One made that logo for us, and it was like a dope stamp. You know, you could put that shit up on anything.
Yeah.
But
it's all wordplay too. I think, you know, we were thinking of primates and like Rhyme Apes. It's very much like, you know, similar to that. So I know that I think Hector had that. Probably that idea for sure. I usually give Hector the task of like naming our tracks. You know, we will have like a first name, you know, based on like either what we called it when we recorded it or the bass or the beat number, and then at the end I'll be like, Hector, come on, what do you hear? What do you know? And I'll task him to do that.
That's funny, man. Yeah, that too I don't care about, and so I always name like sometimes I'll name my shit fucked up. Like I just don't give a fuck. All right, man. Fucking macaroni and cheese. That's the name of the song.
That's tight. It's all this
that's awesome, man. Well, hey, man, that's always fun to me, man, just to go down memory lane with you guys to see how that came about. And it's good to resurface those memories. And again, man, known you guys for a long time or your music. So it's good to get some backstory on that. Let's jump into the project that you guys just released, man. You mentioned it, Through the Speaker, 10 tracks, released in early April. You guys pushed that out with Chop Herring. You guys want to talk to me about how that came about? It was about, I think, maybe 10 years before you put out your first album together. Why so long? And tell me about how that came about.
To speak to that 10-year gap, Clockwise, you know, shout out to Crop Circles, Clockwise, Echoes Oratory. Clockwise always would jam me up and hit up Hector, like, why don't you just call it Stereotype? Because there was projects being pumped out, bro. So it was 10 years, but we did like 4 albums in between that, right? They had Earthworms, which is you know, Hector and Frank John James, and we had Rhyme Apes, and then we had some other things going on. But yeah, you know, 10 years in between. But we actually had those tracks done before Rhyme Apes was even recorded. So we had, my intent was hopefully to release it earlier or even before the Rhyme Apes stuff, but you know, we wanted to do Rhyme Apes proper, and things just got getting pushed. But hopefully I just kind of answered the first part of your question. But go ahead, Hector. I'm sorry.
So originally, our first album, Instincts of Organism, I think we released in 2012 or so, and that's how we got picked up by Echoes of Oratory. We sent that over to Clockwise. Prior to that, I think when Frank and I were doing Earthworms, I got Wordman and Clockwise on a track, and that kind of developed into a relationship. And then from there, when we did the first Stereotype album, we sent it to Clockwise to check out. He did some cuts on it, and he was all like, what do you guys plan on doing with it? We didn't know shit about music. We just released it for free. We didn't know. Right. We were just happy to make it. And he's all like, nah, man, we got to do this right. And he kind of guided us. And, you know, I don't know how much of if he even mixed or mastered anything. At that point, I think Frank was just doing all the mixing. And he did some cuts, and yeah, he put it out on Echoes. So from there,
awesome.
I think Frank and I released an Earthworm, like another Earthworms album, and then Sam and I kind of just started messing with tracks, because the thing is, Frank's, like I said, he, and not in a negative way, he was more like a hermit, and he wanted to stay in the
Right.
studio, and I always wanted to be on stage. I always wanted to be out in a cipher. I always wanted to be talking shit, you know. So I try to make as much music as possible. And when me and Sam started this project, it was just, I think I was pushing Sam to like join me. Like, hey, I can't drag Frank, but I'm gonna drag your ass over here on stage with me. Like, even if it's a solo set, jump on it with me. And from
Yeah.
there, solo projects, we had little songs together, and it's like, let's just, for the sake of having a full set on stage, let's work on a project, and that accumulated over time, and that created Rhyme Apes. But it's like, you know, it was a whole different thing. But
Yeah,
yeah,
I love it, man.
This
after that, oh, go ahead, Sam.
Sorry about that, man. With this project though, like I remember when, I don't know if it was Instincts of Organisms, maybe one other project after that. This was like when Facebook first started coming out, and
Okay.
Stranger Danger, shout out to Stranger Dave, co-produced the album. He had messaged me and was like, "Yo, this is dope." And we had performed already with the Chuds, like we performed with Black Tongue too. I think like right between they changed the name of this like other crew. Shout out to Black Tongue, shout out to all those cats. But Stranger Danger produced all those projects, and he hit me up, was like, "This is dope." And like I had already like heard Stranger Danger, so kind of caught me off, off guard. Like I'm like, "Yo, you like this? Like, dope." You know, much respect. And
Yeah.
I mean, I worked with him on another project before he really jumped
Okay.
in, but he started feeding us beats. Hector's like, "Yo, hit him up for beats, bro." Like, and I'm like, "You bet we're gonna get this in." And yeah, he started sending us beats, and then me and Hector started picking ones that we liked, and Hector ended up recording some solo stuff for some. I ended up recording like a side project with Dave on some. We
That's
dropped like
awesome.
a whole project called Council 9. And finally, like the ones we wanted for Stereotype, I feel were like some of the best ones. So like
Okay.
that's when Frank was like, "Yo, this guy's dope. Yeah, let's do it." And I mean, I can only imagine Frank's like, "Cool, like I don't gotta make a whole bunch of beats. Here's some of the beats." And we picked and cherry picked, and what we got was this project. And Dave, you know, shout out to him. He's always been pushing me like, "Hey, when's the project coming out? When's the project coming out?"
Yeah.
You know, like
He really lit the fire under our ass too. Because, well, to kind of backtrack, I've been in San Antonio for 8 years now, so I don't recall if we finished the Rhyme Apes album. Not to focus too much on Rhyme Apes, but it does lead into this album. I would fly back into California to record at the Mothership, which is the studio, Clockwise studio, and we had some tracks recorded prior to me moving out here, and we kind of just sat on them for a while, and we finally decided to. Thanks to Sam, he's the one who really kicked me in the ass, because he was like, "Hey man, we need to get this album done." And I flew back and pretty much wrapped it up. And even after that, after us finishing recording this album, we kind of sat on it for years, until you know, life happens for all of us, and Clockwise had it in his hands, and then we finally, well, Sam started harassing him and is like just showing up like, "Hey, we need to get this done," and sure enough, here we are now.
Man, I love it, dude. Yeah, it was a great project, man. I really enjoyed it, man. The beats were super dope. You guys mentioned that it was co-produced by Stranger Danger. That was great. It was good boom bap hip hop. The cuts were dope. And so that's probably misleading. I said that there was a break, for 10 years, because you guys did a lot of side projects in between. But yeah, who did the cover art, man? That was sick. The guy looking at the turntable.
I'll answer that. Try did the art. Again, I lean heavy on I lean heavy on Hector for ideas. Hector had like kind of fed me a little bit of visual ideas, and then eventually he came up with the title of the album. Actually, Hector came up with Through the Speaker, and I was like, "Cool, speaker," and I was like, "Audio, you know, visual audio," and I just told try that. I was like, "Just give me like visual audio," and he fucking literally made a guy looking at a speaker. So it looks dope. I mean, and not just that, but shout out to Roach the DJ. You know, anyone who contributed to the project. Roach the DJ did the cuts, and it all really came together. You know, Roach reached out to me after I finished my solo project, How, and you know, we got him involved with Rhyme Apes. It was fitting to have him on this, and you know, shout out to anyone who contributed. But yeah, that's really kind of where that sparked off with the visual and the you know, the cover.
Yeah, shout out to Try. He's from Texas too, right?
No, he's from SoCal. Well, maybe maybe you know something I don't, but he's from SoCal.
No, you're right, man. You're right, dude. I don't know why I confuse him for Texas, man. But he did you guys meet him in person? He's his art is amazing. I love the cards that he does, and oh man, just a creative guy.
I've linked up with him in person before. You know, really just kind of to exchange stuff. You know, I drop off stuff to him, but you know, I haven't kicked it tough with him like that. But you know, shout out to Try One. You know, he always hits me up and you know, has blessed me really with some really cool creative you know, creative pieces. And yeah, man, I mean, he's a prolific, like, you know, fucking sticker artist too, and he loves to like collaborate with all kinds of, you know, street artists and like, you know, just heads in like the graphic game. Like, he's a true graphic designer, I would say. And
yeah,
I don't want to put words in his mouth because I don't know him like that, but like, you know, I think he was like, in my opinion, just holding off on like the music side. He finally like made that bridge, and like luckily it was with my crew, and I introduced him to a few cats. He's worked with Stranger Danger. I believe he's worked with you as well. So like it was dope kind of linking him up with like some people who were putting out projects and needed some art, you know?
Yeah, for sure. Well, hey man, really cool, man. I love the art, and hey, the album had some great features. A lot of your Echoes of Oratory colleagues, Gilead, and John Roughneck was on there too as well.
Yeah.
And it was great, man. How long did that? Yep, that's right, man. And so, and then you guys mentioned Clockwise too, who is, yeah, man, great. He's the brains behind the Echoes of Oratory, man. So that's great. I love the story, how you guys connected. And so, how long did it? Yeah, how did that work in terms of getting it pushed out of the Chopped Herring label, man? I think they're based out of the UK, right?
Yeah, out of England. That's all Stranger Danger, bro. I mean, at the end of the day, I just wanted to have a complete project piece so I can start doing exactly what, you know, I think Dave had already done with his work, you know, providing it to some distributors, providing it to people, and Stranger's like, yo, this is really dope. I'm gonna hook you up with Bob. That's his name, Bob. Chopped Herring. Shout out to Chopped Herring. And it's funny because like I don't know him like that. I don't know Bob like that, but Dave and a couple of other homies who like drop projects on Chopped Herring, they're like, yo, he's really picky. So we'll see what he says. And I'm like, yo, okay, shoot it to him. And apparently he loved it. And he kept emailing me like,
That's awesome.
yo, I'm spinning this in the car, man. This is a great project. This is dope. And I'm like, yo, that's really cool, man. You know, to have someone like that who's probably heard the most obscure underground. I mean, he releases stuff from like the 90s, the 80s, I don't even know, like from Ohio, like random people I still don't even know. And you know, we're lucky enough to be, you know, part of that part of that catalog. And he was graceful enough to hook it up, you know, press records for us and CDs. So, you know, really happy about the collaboration.
Yeah, I love it, man. Hey, BRAiiNSTORM, what was your favorite track on the album?
Cahoots. That one's the posse cut. That's the one. We got Wordman, we got Roughneck Jihad on there. I don't know, I just felt that was a straight banger. There's a lot on there, but I would just off the top, if anyone, that would probably be the first song I show to anybody that hadn't heard the album.
Okay. Yeah. Hey, Mas, what about you? What's your favorite song on the album?
I'm forgetting the names. Probably the intro track. I think that
Out
was
Loud.
The one Out Loud. Yeah, I think that one really kind of kicked it off. Frank, shout out to Frank. You know, that was produced by him, and he would, you know, remind us like, hey, we got to work on this project. And I remember him sending us that reference with just his vocals. I'm like, oh, it's on. Like this is bumping. Let's do it. And so found some sick samples for that. You know, we did the Anchorman samples, which I love, you know, just kind of like, that's our humor, you know, with the three of us, we're just dumbasses. So we'll do that, and and I just love that. It's a favor of mine, There's probably songs in there that bump harder and to the ear and to but aesthetically, and I love that track.
Yeah, it was a good listen, man. A lot of tracks I loved and enjoyed. Out Loud was good, and it's always I've told a couple people that I interviewed, man, the first track is always the important one. It's how you set it off, and so I thought it was set off properly, man. Out Loud, I love the intro track. The two songs I really enjoyed, One Step for Word, Adam's Adam, good songs too. But my favorite track was that fucking Holier Than Thou, man. That was my shit. Woo, man. That fucking
Stranger
beat
Danger.
Some Vinny Paz Jedi mind trick shit.
So can I give you a story behind that track?
Fuck yeah.
I remember Stranger Dave shot us and I'm like, oh, this is hard. So automatically thought like, okay, we're thinking religion, or we're thinking like indoctrination, or just in general, like, people being, forced to follow. And we kick it off, and I'm like, yo, you got to record this with us. I told Dave, at that point, I had not had Dave in the studio like that. So I remember it was really early. We recorded in La Puente at the mothership, like the OG mothership. And I remember Dave comes through. He's gonna laugh when he hears this, and he's like, okay, I got to get ready for this. Homeboy puts on some fronts, bro. And gets into like his whole demeanor. And this is probably like Black Tongue Society 2, Stranger Danger. So there's been like different like evolving of him as an MC. Always dope to see his new style. But and I remember Clockwise looking at me like, yo, homeboy is putting out some fronts. I was like, yeah, dog. And he just he fucking ripped it. I was like, yo. And I think it was a little like artistic for sure, and like definitely like how can I say, it was just like, yo, it was different. And I was like, dude, Stranger Danger is a real one, bro. Like that fool is about his like delivery and style, and he puts a lot of work into it. So yeah, shout out to Stranger Danger. If you listen to it, he's wearing straight up fronts on that one.
Yeah, based on that song, I'm like so interested in checking his stuff out, man. I just was really impressed, man. So I got to look up his stuff, man. Super dope. Well, good, man. It was a good project, man.
Super dope.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I look forward to it. I'm gonna pick up my copy after this. But with that, man, I gotta jump into the fun portion of the interview. I got some random questions I love to ask people, so we can end on a good note. And yeah, let's do it, man. You guys ready? All right, man. You guys mentioned Anchorman, dude, but I want to know. I want to see more into what kind of humor you guys got, man. What is your favorite comedy movie of all time? BRAiiNSTORM. We'll start with you, brother.
Super Troopers.
That's good.
Yeah.
I like that one. All right, Sam. What about you?
I mean, me, Frank, and Hector quote that movie like all the time. Yeah, definitely Super Troopers is up there. Favorite comedy, yeah, I would probably that one's amazing. We can quote that for days, bro. Super Troopers, I agree. That shit's hilarious. I mean, I can say Dumb and Dumber like everyone else, but I mean, Super Troopers really has more of like. There was a time, bro. We were literally living the Super Troopers life, bro, with all the stupidness we were doing when I was in college.
Shenanigans.
Did you guys all meet at UCLA? You guys all went there, or?
I went there and
we met Frank in Santa Monica when they were all roommates. But Sam was attending UCLA and was living outside of campus when we met Frank.
Super dope, man. I love the stories, man. And now, so my man BRAiiNSTORM, you were talking about just loving the shit talk and getting your start as a battle MC and jumping in the cipher. So I want to know your best Yo Mama joke, man, in your arsenal, man. What's the best one?
I haven't had a Yo Mama joke since middle school, bro.
Pull it out, man.
I get a little more personal. Nah, man. It has to be on the spot. I can't even remember the last time I said a Yo Mama joke. I have to pass on this one, bro. I'm sorry. I'm gonna say some dumb shit for no reason.
It's all fun. All right. Before I pass, Sam, do you want to give it a shot, or are we gonna move to the next question?
No, I got one. Your mama's so fat she sweats Crisco. I love that one. I've always loved that one. Yeah. There's been other ones, but that's the one I always go back to.
All right, man. Hey, I'm gonna start with Sam on this one. Hey Sam, if you could have any superhero power, what would it be and why?
I got an easy one, Hector. I'm sorry. I would say probably telekinesis or something with my brain. You know what I mean? Something
Okay.
like that. That'd be sick. Just to be able to just do shit. I mean, that's more of a Hector answer, but I do love like a good Magneto,
right.
good Magneto type or Professor X.
Okay.
Shit.
Cool. BRAiiNSTORM, what about you?
Probably teleporting. I don't fucking know. Sam took my answer. No.
My bad, bro.
I'm telling you, I can't help talking shit, man. But yeah, probably teleporting. My car sucks, so yeah, that'll go a long way.
Very good choices, man. All right, let me give you a softball one, BRAiiNSTORM. Here we go. All right, if they did a movie about the Rhyme Apes, if they did a movie about Mas One and BRAiiNSTORM, tell me which actor you would pick to play you. We'll start with BRAiiNSTORM.
Fuck. Damn. What's that one dude's name? Damn, I can't remember his name. Probably James Franco. I don't know. That one dude from. I don't know. I'd probably go with James Franco to play me. I don't know.
I love it, man. I would
Just
choose
random
Denzel
shit.
Washington for me, man. I'm good.
Yeah, I never thought of that. What about you, Sam? Chris Farley?
That's a Chris Farley, right? Jack Black.
See, I know this fool.
You're a fool.
All right.
I'm in a little coat.
All right, dude. You guys bounce back between SoCal and Texas, man. I'm a big fan of Mexican food. Tell me who got it, man. Southern Cali Mexican food or Tex-Mex?
There ain't no fucking Mexican food out here. It's all about that California, Baja, West Coast shit. Real Mexican.
Hell yeah.
There's no.
Send me some fish tacos, damn it. They fry everything out here and put nacho cheese on everything. I hate it.
Hector mixes taco nazo.
I agree, man. Carne
I
asada
miss
fries.
taco nazo, El Tarino, King Taco.
So really, miss Texas, man. You just not digging the Mexican food out there, huh?
It's not authentic. I've gotten used to the food. They got good breakfast tacos. They use flour for their tacos. I'm like, what the fuck? This is a lazy burrito, you know? But I've grown to adjust, and it's all right. But it ain't nothing like. Shit, I'm glad that my mom's still around, because if I want real Mexican food, I just go to my mom's house.
Yeah. Hey, man, the Texan Mexicanos, man, they stand behind their Tex-Mex, so it's good, man, to see. I'm a faithful, California. Yeah, that's awesome, man. All right, guys, here's one. I'm gonna give it to Sam, man. Who are you choosing between Selena or Selena Gomez?
I don't even know what Selena Gomez has, bro. Selena. Anything for Selena, bro. Yeah, no, Selena's. Yeah, we still bump her music. My daughter.
Yeah, all day, man. All day.
Yeah, my daughter loves Selena.
Yeah. Hey, BRAiiNSTORM, did you make it to that part? I think they have it by the Riverwalk where they filmed that scene from the movie. You been out there?
Yeah, man. I've been to the Riverwalk way too many times. But yeah, that particular part where they filmed that. What I like most about the Riverwalk, you could walk around bring your own beer. So I'll be chilling.
Yeah, I love it, man. Yeah, San Antonio is a great place, man. I lived in Killeen for 3 years, and we used to drive all the time. It was like 2 hours away, but it was cool, man. San Antonio got a good vibe.
Yeah, there's a lot of dope art out here. The culture and music is beautiful. I think of it as like a cleaner, more mellow version of LA. The art is fucking amazing out here, and I mean, it's not oversaturated like LA is with artists, like how they're booking, everybody's just there to see their homies type of thing. I mean, it's kind of similar here, but you have your select few that stand out, because there's people that try to sound East Coast, there's people, but there's like a handful of people that have that sound for San Antonio or for Texas, and it's unique. So it's a beautiful place for music. It's not a hip hop town, it's a rock town.
Yep.
And there's a lot of dope musicians out here. So I mean, even if it's not hip hop, there's a lot of good culture and music, and I mean, I'm not a huge fan of Tex-Mex, but there's good food and stuff. There's and California is infiltrating Texas, so I got a lot of we got a lot of people from back home that are starting businesses and restaurants out here,
Yeah.
and stuff like that. So it feels like home to me.
Awesome, man. Well, good deal, man. Hey, Sam, any or brainstorm any projects that you guys got in the works that you want to talk to people about? I know you got your latest release that is an amazing one, but anything that you guys got in the chamber?
Go ahead, Hector.
You got anything? I know I do.
Yeah, you go ahead, Hector. No, this is my last release for right now. I don't have anything working right now. It's hard to say.
So one of we released it, but it's not out yet. We did a run of cassettes DIY. Shout out to Shots Dupree, my homeboy from Corpus Christi. Him and I started a group called Brain Shots. So BRAiiNSTORM and Shots Dupree, Brain Shot. And we put out a project called This Is Hip Hop, Not Karaoke. And we did some damage. You know, we did a lot of shows out here. We got to tour around with that project. Shout out to Shots. And currently I'm working with the homeboy Accomplice. And we have a group called No Nonsense.
Okay.
I think we're like 6 songs in. That's gonna be out soon. And then as of probably a month ago, I started I didn't start. The homeboy Apaso, San Antonio native, started a collective called Necio Incorporated.
Nice.
And that's Apaso, Spy MC, myself, Kaiser, Max Step. I think that's 5 of us, and that's currently what we're working on. So that'll be coming soon. But other than that, yeah, we'll see what comes next.
Yeah.
Whether it's another Rhyme Apes.
I think we're sitting on a
Stereotype project.
I think we're sitting on a Rhyme Apes track. We're just waiting for the other MC to get on it.
Sick, man.
Yeah, Memphis Reigns.
Oh,
yeah,
shit.
we're waiting on his.
Dude, hey, let's make that shit happen, dude. Dude, I think we're fucking overdue, man. I've been a fan of your music, man. I like the shit that you guys do, man. And I just love the grind, dude. You guys are creative, man, and you guys represent California hip hop to the fullest. And it's been an honor to go through your catalog, man. And it's so exciting, man. I was so excited to see the Through the Speaker release, and even more so happy when I went through the album. It was amazing lyrics. The beats were sick, man. And I love you guys are still grinding and doing it today and showing the younger guys how to do it, man. It's good, man. So it was an honor to do this interview. I can't wait to get this thing out, man. You want to tell folks where you guys want to find this music, find your music, and any final words before we close this dope interview out?
Let me say one thing. I'll let Sam tell them where to find the music, but I'll say one thing. Because I haven't had the chance to tell it to you vocally. I know I sent you a message a while back, but Scorpion Circles was a big influence on me, man. And hearing your feedback on our music means a lot, because on my end you influenced me a lot. So just sitting here and having this conversation with you means a lot to me. So,
Same.
But yeah, that being said, Sam, if you want to let them know, or if you got something else you can say.
If anyone wants to find the project, Through the Speaker, just as its sounds, it's spelled Through the Speaker on all streaming platforms, really. You can Spotify it, but if you want to support EOO Music, that's EOOMUZIK Bandcamp, Echoes of Oratory Bandcamp, or EOO Music Bandcamp. If you Google that, you'll find all our crew projects on there. We have wax for sale. You can also just DM me or Hector on Instagram, Mas Uno 909, MASUNO 909. If you DM us or find us or follow us, we'll be happy to just directly sell that to you too. Hector, you want to plug your IG?
It's BRAiiNSTORM, BRAiiNSTORN, BRAiiNSTORM, 3 eyes. But yeah, man, buy that shit. We got that shit on deck. We got vinyl.
Yeah, we got CDs too. We just dropped CDs, and then I think there's like 10 tapes left on M25 Music.
Yes.
That M.
Shout out to Trustmo. down in
Yeah. Shout out to Trust. He helped us release the first wave, which was only 50 tapes, and we're down to our last probably like last 10 or 15. So look, M25. If you look up their Bandcamp, M25 Bandcamp, they release dope shit every month or so, and you know we were lucky enough to collaborate with them on the tape drop.
Super dope, man. Yeah, I love it too. And the Rhyme Apes album I have too. I love the green vinyl, the green color of the vinyl. It was cool. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a nice one.
Yeah.
Yep. And then obviously shout out to Chopped Herring. You Google Chopped Herring as well, they'll have it on sale. Of course,
Sure.
you know, direct from artists you can, or just support the label Chopped Herring. You can Google that and they'll have the copies on there as well.
Good, man. Well, hey, thanks again for your time. I appreciate it. I'm gonna give you all your Saturday back. I can't wait to get this thing out, man. Take care,
Appreciate
brothers.
it. Thank you, Memphis.
Thank you, man. Appreciate you, man. Much love.